In recent times, there has been reports of rampant online and phone scams with few victims in Bhutan. To understand such scams and how to protect ourselves from falling victim, I interviewed the CEO of Thimphu TechPark, Tshering Cigay, Dorji. Internet was launched in Bhutan only in 1999, so it's almost 2 decades. So where do we stand as a nation?
When internet and television was launched during the Silver Jubilee celebration of our fourth king's reign, we were considered a late entrant in this space. But since then, we have really come a long way. And today, I would say that Bhutan is really at the crossroads. Bhutan is at the crossroads in the sense that we have built all the foundations that is necessary for us to now dream big. The reason I'm saying this is because if you think of the time, for instance, when I graduated from my university in 1999. So those times there were only about 200, maybe a little more than 200 Bhutanese graduating from universities. And since the last 7-8 years, there have been about 3,000 Bhutanese graduating from universities every year. And in terms of manpower, infrastructure, and everything, I feel that we are really ready for the next big step that we can take. And this next big step can bring about only by technologies. And I think His Majesty has rightly given a clarion call to the nation, alerted us all about the importance of technology and dreaming big, to make ourselves more strong technologically, economically, and in every sense. I think we are ready for that next move.
So you were mentioning that the foundation has been built, the infrastructures are ready. So what are the advantages in general of digital technology?
So digital technologies can really help us in many ways, as I already mentioned as well. So the advantages are, there, I think, in every sphere of our life. Maybe let us talk about the COVID situation, for instance. So technology has really helped us in many ways in this COVID situation as well. Maybe one thing that everybody would have used, one application, is TruckTrace. It helps us in contact tracing. And there is the check post management system, recording the movement of people from one zone to another. And all this information is available at the click of a button for the decision makers. And these things are possible just because of technology. And the other thing could be all the work from home that is enabled because of technology, and also the education that our children can in some ways still get despite the lockdown, through the Google Classroom and all these online education platforms. So there are multiple benefits, and I think that there is no other way than to embrace technology and go forward.
One of the most prominent changes I have seen is the Thokpas and Gups using Zoom for their meetings.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
so that's very good to know.
Yes, and I think as we say, there's two sides of a coin, so there is advantages, so many immense advantages. So equally, there is so many challenges as well of digital technology. If you could stress on that as well.
So there are the bad sides to technology as well, and that is because technology is just a tool. I think we have to always remember that technology is just a tool, and just like any tool, I think we can decide on how we use it. Whether it has a positive impact or the negative impact really depends on how we use that tool. So it is the same with technology. But on the whole, I would say that technology has much more positive impact. And when we think about some of the negative side effects of technology, I think we can think of all the negativity that is being spread on social media, for instance. And the other things could be, people falling victims to scams, and So today, I think we will be discussing in more detail, and also we hope to raise awareness to people on how they can be more careful, take care of themselves online. So when we talk about that, I really like to relate that the bad things that happen online are just an extension of what has been happening or what happens offline, or what has been happening even before these digital technologies came. So I think in every society there have always been some bad people. There have been scammers and fraudsters. So these people now take advantage of technology, and they go online to find victims. So I think there's an extension of that, and we have to be aware of that, and we have to be careful, I think.
Yes, basically the criminals, the scammers were already there, but now they're using the new platform, which is easily available to everybody.
That's right.
And then we also put up so much information online, our names, our personal life, professional life. So is it safe to have to expose so much of information about yourself online?
So in general, we Bhutanese are very lax about privacy and personal data. So if we try to tell anybody that it's not good to share all this personal information online, or just share it on your social media accounts, I think one of the common answers is that they have nothing to hide.
Yes.
But I think we have to be more careful about the personal information that you share online. With regard to people who hold public office, I think they have to put certain information about themselves online. But someone who has no reason to give all the personal information online, I think it is better if they withhold from doing so. One of the risk of sharing all the personal information online is that then some people could use your pictures or use your information and pose as you, whereas it is not you, but they would pose online as being you, and this could lead to a serious case of identity theft and things like that. So I think it's always better not to share too many information. And one simple example could be that if you put a lot of your pictures and a lot of things about yourself online, somebody else could very well open another account using your name, or maybe using another name, but putting all your pictures there, and then send friend requests to multiple people, and then they would be using your pictures and using all the things about you, but they could be doing that for some bad reasons.
Right.
And if it is reported to police, and then they would say, okay, the perpetrator is this person, and your picture could come up, right? So this kind of things could happen. It's not that we are saying that is happening in a big way, but this could possibly happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we also have this habit of saving our passwords in our personal computer, work computer, password and usernames. So is it safe? If not, is there any other ways to protect ourselves?
One of the most important tools we have to secure ourselves is the password. So password is very important. So for instance, for your internet banking and mobile banking, you have your PIN, right? Transaction PIN and the M PIN and the T PIN. So likewise, for all other things you do online, you have your passwords. So you have to really take care of your passwords. Passwords, to taking care of the password is very, very important. And in that respect, I would like to mention that these days, each and every person has to remember many, many passwords.
Yes.
So maybe I may have 30 or 40 or 50 passwords to remember. And I think on average, maybe everybody has now, I think, more than 10 passwords at least. I think in the developed countries, people have maybe one person has to remember even 50, 60 or maybe 100 passwords. So it's literally impossible if you have to remember all those passwords. So what people do is maybe they will write it down somewhere, or they will just type it in a file and keep it on their computer, or maybe keep the same password for all the different accounts. So these are all very risky thing to do. So now one way to overcome that is to use password manager. So there are a lot of pre-password managers, and the password manager that I use is called the LastPass, LASTPASS.com, LastPass.com. So like this is not the only one. There are many password managers, and cybersecurity experts have said that most of these password managers are safe, quite safe to use, because they are encrypted and they will not look at your password data. So using password manager is the way to go. And once you start using password manager, you just have to remember only one password, the master password for the password manager. And the remaining passwords, you just save it inside the password manager. Because you are saving it there, you don't even need to know the other passwords. And when you log in, you can always log in through that password manager. So you can keep very difficult, very complicated passwords for all the other accounts. So this is, I have been advocating this. This is the way to go in order to make sure that your passwords are secure and not divulged.
I recently interviewed some banks, since there's so many cyber crimes happening, like phishing, and within the month of April, there has been so many reports of cyber scams, and then they were reporting that their clients, people get calls strangers asking for their details, OTP, for example. So what would be your advice for them?
Thank you. I have been always intrigued and very interested in scams. There is a saying that however stupid the scam may be, there will be somebody who will believe in it. But no, let that be the case. But I think through education we can reduce the number of victims. I feel that we can reduce the number of victims. So I really, I'm very much. I feel very angry with scammers, and so I really would like to raise awareness on the kind of scams that is there online. So I think it's very important for everybody to be aware that there are scammers. There are a lot of people who are there to use unscrupulous means to dupe you and take your money. So I think we have to be very careful. Now, when talking about the scams and the cybersecurity threats, so the category that we are talking about right now is really falls under scams, and scams can be in many forms. And here I would also like to mention that there is another category. The other category is the attacks that come through spyware, malware, and ransomware. So these are more sophisticated attack. So we can't do so much about the sophisticated attacks. The only thing is that not to run unknown software or unknown programs, not to open attachments you receive on email or on WhatsApp from unknown people, unless you are sure not to run that. So that's the only thing we can do, I think, when it comes to more sophisticated attack. But most of the problems arise not from sophisticated attack. Most of them are from the simple scams. And under the simple scams, also I think we can talk about many things. But right now, let us focus on the OTP scam. So when it comes to these OTP scams, more directed towards you, so the one of the things to remember, for instance, things related to bank, for instance. So there, let us all remember that a bank official or a person from the bank will not ask for your OTP or password by call. Even if if they claim to be from the bank, I think I can say for almost 100% that they would not. I think they would not ask online. And for that matter, in the past, even the ATM pin is normally it is sealed and given to you. Only you can see, right? So I don't think the banks would ask that at all. So if you get a call claiming that the person is from a bank and asking you this kind of passwords and OTP stands for one-time password that you get through SMS. So you should never believe that it is from the bank. You should never believe. Whoever is watching today, if after understanding this, don't believe that such calls are from the bank, and you may kindly even spread this information to others as well. So the bank officials will not ask the OTP and your password, and at least the account details they may ask if it is to find out something, but the passwords and all that they will never ask that. So we should not believe on the call. Unless you really know that bank official. I think even the non-bank official, I think, should not ask you the passwords firstly. That is one. Secondly, now with regard to the OTP, there has been some recent instances of WhatsApp account being hacked, your WhatsApp account. And that hacking also happens through the sharing of OTP. Firstly, you will get a message from a friend's account, from a friend's account of WhatsApp. For instance, if here Madam Sonam and I know each other, if your account is hacked, I may get a message from your account asking me to share the OTP. You will say that, oh, my OTP has been sent to your phone number by mistake. Can you please send it to me? And I will see this WhatsApp message, and when I check my SMS, exactly there is a OTP message, SMS OTP I already got. And what many people do is, without checking or without calling the other friend, they immediately copy the OTP from the SMS and send it by WhatsApp. And then the hacker gets hold of my WhatsApp account also. So they have hacked your account, and now they also hack me. How they are able to hack me is because I trusted that it's from you. So in this kind of instances, what we should do is, firstly, you should not believe that this is from your friend. Even if you are compelled to believe, you should call that person and check, did you send me this message? Because this message is not from your friend, it is from the hacker. So the best way is to cross-check by calling. Because on the text, they can, if you say, are you really Sonam? Then the hacker will say, yes, I am, please send the OTP as soon as possible. That's what they would say. But on the voice, if you call them directly on the phone number, at least WhatsApp account may be hacked, but the phone number would still be with your friend, right? And even on the WhatsApp account, if you call them, I think they would not pick up. Even if they pick up, then you would know that it's not your friend on the other end. So we have to always check in that manner. Similar hacking also happens through Facebook account. So if your Facebook account is hacked, from your account, the hacker normally sends the message to your friends, close friends. Once your account is hacked, they will know who are your close relatives and who are your close friends. So they will send a message saying, "Oh, I'm Sonam. I'm in a dire need of say 5,000 gultram, and then please can you send this money to me immediately?" And your friends thinking that it's from you, so they will send. So even if you get such messages on Messenger, on Facebook, or any for that matter, maybe on WeChat or anywhere, I think the most important thing to do is always call up your friend and check, did you send me this message? Because at least on the voice you can authenticate, right? So these are some of the very important things to keep in mind.
Talking about Facebook, we have so many charity events going on, maybe religious, or you're trying to help somebody. So most of us openly donate money. We take screenshots of our receipts and then we share it on Facebook, WeChat. So is it safe?
It is not a wise thing to do. So when you share the screenshot, so they get the information about your account, bank account number, for instance. So they could use that bank account number for malicious purpose. So I think an ordinary person may not be able to really use it for such purpose, but a hacker could get a lot of useful information from that. The transaction ID and journal ID and things like that. Everything goes there. So it's not at all proper to share all these details directly. So normally what we should do is, even if you have to share, maybe keep the amount, but you can edit the image and then you can rub off those important details from the image. So that would be the wiser thing to do.
Phishing is very popular in other countries right now, cyber scam. And it's also becoming very popular in Bhutan right now, rampant. So can you explain phishing in simple words for our viewers? Because most of us are not aware about this cyber scam.
So one of the most common cyber threats is phishing. So when we say phishing, it is spelled Phishing, and phishing we categorize under two types. There is a general phishing, which is some kind of a message that is sent to a lot of people, and then there is a concept of spear phishing, which is targeted attack. So in both cases, I think we have to be very careful. So one example of phishing could be a general email that you get, right? Email or message saying that you have won this lottery. So it is a case of phishing because they are casting the net wide. They have sent this message to a lot of people. And just like when you cast the net in a pool, in a pond, some fish will get inside the net, some will not, right? So if you respond to that positively and you become the victim, you become victim of phishing. Now there is also spear phishing. So spear phishing is really like like throwing a spear at the fish. So in spear phishing, they know a lot about you. The scammer knows a lot about you, and then they target you. So it becomes a lot more difficult to avoid that because they may be very convincing. So in both cases, we have to be very careful. So one case of spear phishing could be, for instance, you are online on Facebook, and then you get a friend request from someone you don't know. They may have picture of Bhutanese, or could be another picture, usually a picture of beautiful girls, and then they will start chatting with you. And what happens is they get to know you better, and then you begin to trust that person. And then one day they will ask you for certain information about you, and using that they may be able to get hold of your accounts. So once there was this incident of quite a number of Bhutanese celebrities' accounts getting hacked.
Yes.
And I talked to one such person, and this seemed to be a case of spear phishing. After getting to know that person, they would say that, oh, you are into this, I would like to do a production with you, and then they will try to gain your confidence, and then later then you share some information, and using that information, I think they are able to take your account hostage. And sometimes they will then say that, to get back your account, pay me this much amount of money, or sometimes they will use your account to do very bad things, to damage your reputation. So these kind of things happen. So we have to be very careful about all these scams using phishing.
Yes. And as we end our program, as an expert, your advice for our viewers.
Yes. So in this talk, I really wanted to focus more on the cyber threats, how to take care of yourselves online. So I just want to give few tips. So firstly, I would like to repeat that protecting your password is very important. So please keep difficult passwords and change your passwords often. And use a password manager to keep your password safe. And if you are using a computer or a personal laptop, often your passwords are get saved in the web browser. So please make sure that it is deleted, or if you have your password saved on your personal computer, please be careful about letting other people use your web browser. Somebody could just look at web browser settings, and they can easily get a hold of many of your passwords. And these days, this is very important because, for example, I have a BOB credit card, and most of my authentication things related to my credit card, it's linked to my email. So if somebody gets hold of your email account, email password, they can also get hold of your credit card details and things like that. So these things are very important. And lastly, I would like to mention that you will get many offers online. You will get many offers which are too good to believe. And if it is too good to be true, please know that it is usually not true. Almost, I think 99.9% of the time it's not true. So please don't get carried away. There are no free lunch or very easy way to make money anywhere. So please don't fall victims to the scams online. So lastly, I would like to again mention that technology has a lot of good things to offer, but at the same time, online scams are going to increase, and they will always be there to stay. So please take care.
Yes, so thank you very much for your time and sharing your knowledge and information with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.